crypto thefts and crime. According to Crystal blockchain, over $119 million have been swindled in various hacks and scams only in the beginning of 2023. And last year, there was over 4 billion stolen or hacked or drained from DeFi protocols over the year. And obviously, over the past 2 years, the focus of hackers and attackers shifted from centralized exchanges where you need to, compromise security system, infiltrate those really, really complex system, to just exploiting DeFi protocols where you need to find a vulnerability of code, which is open source, or you can manipulate price of some not so liquid assets and get great profits out of it, not in advertising. So hackers are really active on the DeFi space, and recently, according to Crystal blockchain, they also paid a lot of attention to the NFT space, but that's more about scams and rug pulls. There is a lot of NFT scams where founders pull the rug from the buyers and leave them high and dry. Any thoughts, guys?
Yeah, it's always a good time to be scamming. The one that comes to mind recently was someone took over Circle Chief Strategy Officer Dante Desparte's Twitter account and promoted the fact that there was a USDC airdrop. There was no such thing, and those who are unfortunate enough to believe that this verified account on Twitter was telling them the truth, and those who interacted with this website probably had put themselves at risk of losing funds, right? So I think there's always these new and novel ways that people are looking to get money from other people through illicit means, right? Whether that's smart contract exploits, whether that's just sort of social engineering scams, whether that's rug pulls, you name it. Crypto really is a cat and mouse game between people who are looking to exploit these permissionless systems for negative ends, for ill intent, and those who are looking to make these permissionless systems good, open, and accessible to all. And these are indeed neutral platforms, and they can be used for good and bad. It's something that's very inherent to the space, right? It can be both things at once, and that's something that I think sometimes gets lost in the conversation around whether or not crypto should continue to exist in the world. It's probably not going anywhere, but there's certainly a lot of good, upstanding actors who are trying to put the bad guys to rest. But unfortunately, those bad guys, they keep doing their thing too. It's just the way of the world, I guess. I don't know, Jen, what do you think?
Yeah, we say this on the show so often, but I have to say it again. Like, DeFi is so new and it's solving so many problems that our existing financial system has presented, right? But the fact that we're building so quickly and moving so fast in a space that has so much regulatory opaqueness leaves room for things like this to happen. And I think it's to be expected. I think most people in the industry expect these things to happen. I think it highlights the need for things like audits and bug bounties. And so I think that we should just see more of that, right? When we're building, we should maybe think twice about speeding to launch on mainnet, test what's happening, bring in third parties to audit, offer bug bounties, and slowly but surely we will solve some of the issues that lead to these crimes taking place. I zeroed in on the NFT part of this story, right? Because I couldn't even count how many people last year had their Bored Apes stolen from them. And Zach, you and Will said at ETH Denver last year, a lot of people who are new to the space are introduced to the space through NFTs. And so it's so sad to hear that these people are being taken advantage of because they may not know the ins and outs on how to protect their assets. And so I think for me, that just highlights the need for more education, especially when it comes to NFT projects, on how to evaluate if a project is legit or not, and then again, how to hold those NFTs safe so they remain in your hands and you can enjoy those little JPEGs. And I'll toss it back to you.
And it just reminds me of one fun conversation I had with a Bitcoin developer on one conference. He was like, Bitcoin wallet security is tricky to get right, and there are a lot of things to think of. But, all the hackers' attention is now on DeFi, so we can kind of relax a little bit because they're not coming for us. They're coming first and foremost for those DeFi protocols. You guys in the DeFi space, do some audits, like ramp up your game, stop being a honeypot. the eyes of the industry are on you.
Yeah, I think the thing, Jen, you mentioned about sort of, the newcomers kind of falling prey to this stuff. I think it's also worth pointing out that there are very sophisticated people who are also falling prey to this stuff. Anna in her piece mentions Kevin Rose, who's a prominent NFT founder, who, hit like something like $1 million worth of his NFTs were pilfered, right? You're talking about Circle, an executive at Circle who, got his Twitter account compromised, and someone, a bad actor, was able to distribute a malicious link by way of that. So it's not just new people falling prey to some of these things. It's also pretty sophisticated, important people in the space. And honestly, it's just a really bad look for the industry as a whole, not on the part of the people who are victimized by this, but just by the fact that it can really go up and down the spectrum of new users and power users. We've talked about this before, but it is really scary when, someone who is new in the space sees someone who is established in the space fall prey to some of these same scams. It's very jarring. And I think that is something that suppresses the ability for more and more people to onboard to this particular set of technologies because, again, self-custody is tricky. And there are bugs in a lot of this experimental technology. And sometimes there's real big money at stake. So it becomes scary to kind of take that first step into this world. And I think it is something that hopefully can be resolved over time. And some of these numbers ultimately will shrink. But I don't know. I don't know if I'm optimistic. Jen, what do you think?
Well, I just wanted to say, I've never been so afraid and anxious about online security until I started working in this space, and the hacks and the scams are continuously getting more and more creative. I just wanted to point out, I don't know if the Ronin attack is still the biggest DeFi attack that we've seen, but that system was obliterated by a LinkedIn job offer that one of the engineers got and downloaded a PDF. And so these hacks are getting more and more sophisticated. And if you fall victim to one, I think we have to just say, it seems like it's happening to those who are new and old. And so don't feel dumb. Is where I'm going to leave this. Don't feel dumb.
It's true. Don't feel dumb.
Yeah,
I was lucky enough to moderate a panel with some security researchers at this year's ETH Denver, and it was titled "Only the Paranoid Survive." So being a little bit paranoid out there when you're interacting with crypto assets is always important.